Hey House Church, I'm April and this is
Piper. Hi.
And we are both very excited to share with you a little bit about Godly Play, which is a new curriculum method of working with our children that we want to start implementing, that we already are starting to kind of implement parts of. So there's just so much to say, but I want to share just a couple things. I'll read to you about it real quick. Godly Play has been around since the 70s, and it is based in the Montessori method, which is where children learn through discovery, and you have a community of children in the room, and they kind of take care of their stuff. They're encouraged to wonder and think. So let me just read this. It says, the Godly Play curriculum engages what is most exciting about religious education, God inviting us into and pursuing us in the midst of scripture and spiritual experience. Godly Play practice teaches us to listen for God and to make authentic and creative responses to God's call in our lives. Godly Play is a creative, imaginative approach to Christian formation and spiritual guidance. The values are process, openness, discovery, community, and relationship. It allows the children to make relevant and personal theological meaning. It nurtures the children to larger dimensions of belief and faith through wondering and play. So I've been hearing about Godly Play for years and years, and had kind of have parts of the methodology kind of mixed into what we're already doing. And then Piper has started helping me do kids church over the last few months, which is a huge blessing, and she's really great with the kids. And I was able to go to a Godly Play training in Dallas at the end of July. And so I got to experience rooms that were set up for Godly Play, to see master storytellers do the Godly Play stories, which is one of the big parts of it, where we take hands-on tools and do the storytelling, we memorize it into our heart, and we present the stories to the children, and the children get to wonder what they think is the most important, where they see themselves in the story, what could be taken out and the story still have the same meaning. What is their favorite part? So there's several just core wondering questions that we have after each story that encourages the children to think about and make meaning of stories, and get a broad Christian language system for what they already have going on inside themselves. They already have a relationship with God, but they don't necessarily have the words and the language of their Christian faith. And so that's what this program brings. And so much more that I can't share all of on one video, but I wanted to let Piper share kind of how she's feeling about it as a mom, because Arlo is growing up in our program, and kind of also just what I've been able to share with her, and hopefully she'll get to go to a training next, which has so much more than I've been able to share. But she is helping me begin to build some of the stories, and just want to let her talk for a minute.
Thank you. Yeah, I want to say that that is what I like most about Godly Play, is from the moment you walk into the door of the classroom, there's this energy in a godly classroom where everything feels like reverent, and the stories feel weighty, like they have some substance to them, and they feel honored, but they're told in a way that doesn't require the children to come to a certain conclusion. You allow them the opportunity to form their own thoughts and opinions, and that's my favorite part about Godly Play, is the wondering questions and the openness to just form your own opinion of things while still being respectful and honoring the traditions that we have.
Also, I just think it's beautiful, like one of the things that children are learning this language is a spiral curriculum, so it'll go through the stories in about 3 years. You'll probably hit the stories, I don't know, twice, but each time the child comes back to the story, they will be a little bit older and get something a little bit different out of it, or may have a different wondering. Also, after the stories, and the wondering, they have at least 15 minutes of what we call work time, where they work with the story. So they can choose to work with the story pieces, or they can choose to get a work mat in the Montessori style and we have high quality art supplies for them to create open-ended art and kind of reflect and create that way. Or they can choose to go create with some Legos, or whatever feels good for them, to have that reflection time and that time with God for them. And then after that, we will have a feast or a snack where they each have a job and we all wait on one another and we eat together. And then we'll probably go outside if we have time, because they love that too. And then we always bless them when they leave, or we will just give them a little blessing and tell them how grateful that we were for them to be here that day. And so we're just really excited to get started. A lot of the things say that it can take up to 3 years to really, the storyteller, it's a lot of work because we're memorizing the stories in our heart and we're sharing them with the children. And so the more you do that, the more that that becomes more natural.
Nature.
Yeah. And so, but it costs money, like everything. Everything costs some money. And so in the Godly Play, instead of having kind of like little plasticky toys, the tools that we tell the stories with are generally made of wood. And so they cost, but they're an investment. So some churches that have these tools and people have donated certain stories or things, they have these tools for 15 or 20 years. So it's an investment, and generations will use these things because they're not cheap. They're not made cheaply. They're handcrafted. They're wood.
They're timeless.
Yes.
Like, they don't start looking dated after a while. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're beautiful, and they're simplicity. So they're not going to age poorly, I feel like.
Yeah. And it just, as we build our stories, we'll have shelves of stories, which you'll see pictures of what a Godly Play classroom can look like. We'll be starting kind of bare and just building a few stories at a time, which is great. And then as the money is donated, we'll be able to add to what we have. We're going to need some more shelves. We're going to need another big pretty rug for the floor. We're going to need the stories themselves, the wooden tools and the stories. Not all the stories are wooden, but anyway, we're going to create together what we can create. And Piper's very craftsy, and we're going to make inexpensively what we can get started with. But we would ask that you just prayerfully consider what you might be able to give towards this program for our kids, because it's just going to be so beautiful. I just think that once we get going, we'll invite parents on a special parent day, because we don't invite the parents into the Godly Play room because they really value the idea of the children are creating a community of children. And when you have a lot of adults standing up over them, it changes that environment. And so we stay in smaller chairs or towards the floor to kind of be more of an equal.
Okay, so now we're going to show you guys some images of a Godly Play classroom so you can get an idea of what we're envisioning and what we hope to do with this space.
Okay, so we're going to share a story with you soon, maybe next week, well, hopefully, and we're ready to get started. We're excited. We've purchased a few things, and we just ask that you would just prayerfully consider what you can give and how you might can support. If you're interested in helping in the Godly Play classroom sometime, feel free to check with one of us.
Amazing, yeah.
And whatever else you wanted to say.
Just that I'm really excited to get started.
And we're so thankful for Piper, so
Thanks, guys.
children's ministry team here. Okay.
Thank you for your time.